Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the QA BeamChecker Plus webinar. I hope to show you today how the QA BeamChecker Plus is a simple, fast, and reliable device for your daily LINAC QA. My name is Dan Schmidt. I'm the Marketing Director here at Standard Imaging, and I'm also the Product Manager for this device. Before I go too much further, I would certainly like to take this opportunity to salute all of our healthcare workers on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic that continues even now. Your amazing dedication and sacrifice is an example for all of us. And even though we've had an awful lot of change and there's still probably more coming, we know that cancer treatment doesn't stop and that patient healthcare issues are certainly going to continue to be at the forefront of this battle. So as a medical physicist, your time is extremely valuable, and we hope that you'll partner with Standard Imaging to assist you with efficient and precise solutions for your daily, monthly, or annual QA. Just a few housekeeping items to note. Today's webinar is recorded. It is being recorded right now, and it will be available for your future review. We'll send you a link as well, and anyone who did sign up will get a link to be able to find that on our website and to listen to it at a future time. If you do have any questions during the webinar, certainly feel free to add those into the dialog box, the question box, as we go along, and I will attempt to address as many as possible at the end of the discussion. Standard Imaging is a company based in Middleton, Wisconsin. We were founded in 1989, over 30 years ago, and we do design and manufacture a full suite of QA products for radiation therapy. So let's talk just a little bit about the objectives that you might have for doing your daily LINAC QA to kind of ground us all in the same point. You certainly want to identify the fact that your LINAC beam has not changed from a known value, that your output of the beam, the flatness and symmetry remain constant for all of those energies from a given date moving forward. And you need to be able to prove that. So you need some convenient trending and reporting of that data. You might like to also verify the consistency of other factors such as your MLCs, your gantry rotation, and physical wedge constancy or electronic dynamic wedge constancy as well. And I think this is a key one. You want to be able to do that as quickly as possible, but at the same time, you also want to do it in a quality, in a solid manner. So you want to do it as fast as possible, but not faster. And I think we'll show you today that the QA BeamChecker Plus is the instrument that really can help you do that. So for TG142, this is the AAPM task group that talks about daily QA for your LINAC beam, and I think these are probably pretty similar around the world. The QA BeamChecker can help you do the following procedures that are required in TG142. Your photon output constancy, the electron energy output constancies, localization of your lasers, are they within the locations that they're supposed to be, have not been shifted or bumped on a daily basis? Is your optical, using your optical distance indicator at isocenter, are your collimator sizes correct? And then I believe also required a morning checkout, one run, one angle for your wedges, your wedge beams. I do want to point out that the data from the daily QA BeamChecker can be pulled into QA Pilot. This is a Standard Imaging software product that is our integrated platform that allows you to centralize and manage your machine and QA performance data and information. And again, this can pull in the data from the QA BeamChecker as well. We have certainly other webinars that you could listen to or contact your salesperson for more information if you'd like that on the QA Pilot product. So a couple of basic specifications for the device. I'll just let the screen catch up here. There we go. So basic specifications for the QA BeamChecker. It is an ion chamber based array. There's 8 parallel plate ionization chambers in there. 5 of those are used to do the flatness, symmetry, and constancy measurements, and 3 of them have specific filters in front of them that are used to determine an actual energy score, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, which is the key to making this device very simple and easy to use. We have water equivalent material. On the photon side, we put 3.5 cm, and on the electron side, we put 1.5 cm, and I'll again describe that use in a little bit greater detail as we move forward. But the idea is that these are essentially at or beyond Dmax for all of the energies that you might run into, being sure then that the precise measurements are being able to be taken, that we don't have too thick a buildup so that our signal levels are too low for electrons, and that we have enough that we're in a flat region essentially for photons as well. So that was really the design specification behind the reason why we do it as we do. The QA BeamChecker can measure flatness, symmetry, and constancy for cobalt energies all the way up to 25 MeV photons, and for 6 MeV electrons up to 25 MeV electrons. You can as well track 9 individual radiation treatment machines, or we call them rooms. You can essentially set up 9 different rooms in the device and store the data at a time. We do find that most of our customers would do 2, probably, maybe 3 at the most with each one, but it's nice to know that it does have that capability. We've got some simple software to allow you to trend those results and view the results and then generate reports. And the device also includes this power data cradle, the silver device down here at the bottom, which is used for easy charging and communication to the computer that runs the software. And this is all included with the one price of the device. All right, so let's talk then about how ease of use really is the key for working with your daily QA device. The QA BeamChecker has a patented wire-free mode, and essentially this allows you to run the software, baseline the device one time for each energy to store within it a representation of what each energy looks like, and thereafter it is a software-free solution. It's very easy for the therapists to come in the morning because all of that data is stored on the device. It knows what each beam looks like. They don't have to run any software in order to take their morning QA measurements. In addition, a big display on the front shows you whether you've passed or failed in a very simple, easy manner, and it allows you to very quickly go through the energies at any order that you wish. You're not required to do a specific work list. You simply do all your photon energies, go in, flip the device, do all your electron energies in any order, and the device will identify which electron, which photon beam that was, and remember what the requirements were for flatness and symmetry and give you the variation from that initial baselining date. I should note that there is also a PC connected mode. You can certainly run the device through the software and get more exact real-time information, and I'll show you some screens in a bit. You do get a little bit more information if desired, to see the data on the flatness and symmetry and constancy. So that is certainly available if you wish to do that. The automatic energy detection, as I discussed, is those 3 filtered ionization chambers, which we call it an energy score. For every energy that you baseline, we develop a unique number using an algorithm based on those filtered chambers that identifies what that beam is, and then remember what the flatness and symmetry and constancy were for that baseline time. That does allow you, as I said, to deliver those beams in any order, and it helps reduce errors in delivery because you're not required to follow a regimented piece of software. You don't have to run the software. It makes life very simple and easy to use. So some of the unique features then of the QA BeamChecker. First is that integrated buildup. As I mentioned before, this allows you to have measurements performed near or beyond Dmax for a good, solid, precise measurement. So the 1.5 cm of water equivalent material for electrons and 3.5 for photon energies. There are also several dynamic modes available. So you're allowed then to check your rapid arc or VMAT delivery. We've got a specific tomotherapy mode that can be run in the dynamic method or with static beams as well. Can also do laser tests for you. And then constancy checks for the wedge beams are also able to be set up on this device and all run through that simple interface in a software-free method, again, or connected to the PC. Of course, the device does automatic and temperature pressure compensation, so you don't have to worry about that. It is displayed during the baseline setup so that you can see what those corrections are being used. And there's a real-time clock, a stamp that goes along with every data point that is taken so that you can tell exactly when the data was taken, and there's no confusion there. And then we have a unique physics mode that allows you to do simple measurements if you want to do for research purposes or just get a quick check on your beam. Essentially lets you, like an ionization chamber and electrometer in real time, click a start and stop button and it displays an elapsed time, and then the instantaneous rate and the charge collected over that time is being displayed on the screen. And then you can export that information if you'd like to as well to use it. So what does the initial configuration of the QA BeamChecker look like? How do I do that initial baseline setup of my LINAC when I'm going to use it, before I use it? So the first thing you do is set your QA BeamChecker on the treatment couch and hook it up through either a serial connection to the computer running the software or through a Bluetooth connection, which is available. Now we do use an RS-232 connection here, but on the other end of this, we also provide a USB to RS-232 adapter so that on your computer, if you don't happen to have an RS-232 connection, you can hook it directly into any USB port on your computer. We chose RS-232 just because that is a lossless method of sending data over long distances, and we understand that control rooms aren't always right next to the vaults. USB tends to be limited to typically, if you look at the standard, 15 feet or less. So that was one of the concerns, and again, trying to get you the most precise error-free data is why we did that. So you set the device up underneath your LINAC, and then you define the action levels. Running the baseline software, there's 4 tabs down here at the bottom. Baseline, real-time operation, data view, or this physics mode that I had discussed. So I'm in the baseline mode. I've got my BeamChecker on the couch. I've aligned it to the 20 by 20 collimated field at my distance indicated on my ODI at 100 cm. And then I essentially tell it, okay, this is a 6 MV. In some earlier screens, I would have said this is a 6 MV beam coming. The gantry angle is 0. It's a 20 by 20 field size, 100 cm SSD. I'm going to give you a dose rate of 100 monitor units or 400 monitor units and deliver a dose of 400. And then you can set action levels. So these can be set independently for all of the measurements that you see down here. The constancy, the flatness, axial symmetry, and transverse symmetry all can have their own action levels. In this example, they're all set at 3% and 5%. Action level 1 is essentially telling you the device is probably is indicating that there is some setup or something has gone slightly wrong, and you should probably call your physicist in to take a look at this or make a note. And the action level 2, the intention there is that this is high enough that something is seriously wrong, and you should definitely get your physicist in here before you begin to treat that day. So all of those are able to be set up in this baseline mode, and you'd indicate who had taken those datas, and then deliver that beam. You'd simply then save that baseline for that energy. If for some reason you don't like that, you can clear it and take another shot. So then you'd repeat this process for every energy that you would wish to check on the photon side. Then when you're going to do it on the electron side, you simply flip it over, and we'll look a little bit more closely at on the next image and see how the screen actually flips over and you can identify easily whether you're on the electron or the photon side. So once you've done all of the you've baselined all of your energies, then you simply place the device back on this power data cradle. Holds it vertically so it doesn't take up a lot of space for you. Most people keep this in the control room. And the therapist just come in the morning, grab it, and take it out. They're ready for their QA. And in the morning procedure now, in this wire-free mode, they simply remove it from that power data cradle, and they set it back onto the treatment couch. They have no cables that are required. They simply get the front white surface here set up to with the ODI to 100 centimeters. They turn on the collimator lights, and you notice that the 20 by 20 outline here is indicated with a broken line. This makes it very easy to see on the shadows. We found over the years that a white screen with black lines and broken lines makes it very easy for you to identify that you've got that lined up exactly in a simple, easy manner. We find this procedure, with just a little bit of practice takes you 10 to 15 seconds. It's very simple to do that. Then your laser lines also can be checked to verify that the lasers are coming in here at the right distances. And we've also got some markers back here and back here on the device to show you, to make it easy to line up that sagittal as well. So I'm all set in position. On the front face of my device, there's a button here that you can kind of see that says photon or electron, and you pick the mode, and you know that you're on the photon side because the light indicates photon, and the display is upright, is correct. It says RDY, ready, I'm all set to go. When you would flip this over for the electron side, you'd press that mode button again, and the display would invert again so that it shows you, if your display is upright, you know that you're on the correct side. And of course, it does say electron side or photon or electron side right on the device. So it's easy and you don't get confused. Then you go back into the control room and aim the patient camera at the front face of the device. And is what's going to then give you the information as a therapist how I'm doing for each of my measurements. So I can see the status. I know that the device is ready to go. And then I simply deliver any beam that a baseline exists for on the device. In this example, we automatically then have detected, say, 6 MV photon energy. And we can say, okay, now the device has indicated based on the energy score, which is stored inside here, it knows what a 6 MV beam's constancy, flatness, and symmetry were at the time that I baselined it. And if that is within the action levels that you set during baselining, the device will simply store that data and indicate that it is ready to go for the next beam. You can then go ahead and shoot your next photon energy, and you repeat that procedure for photons and electrons as well. What happens when the beam is out of tolerance if there is an error that occurs? So that's I'll wait for the screen to catch up here. There we go. When the beam is out of tolerance, what occurs then is on the front face of the device, we display a variety of 3-letter codes that tell you what is out of range. So CST for constancy, TSM for transverse symmetry, ASM for axial symmetry, FLT for flatness. And it's always going to display the energy that it has found for you. In the case where you have a action level 1 error, you would simply, the lights would now flash red at you, and there would be a slow beep that would occur as well. And you would be required, whenever there is an error, for safety's sake, to walk into the bunker and press this reset button. All those errors, all that information is stored, and it does download from the device later. But then it will reset and go to ready to go. If there does happen to be an action 2 error, then the device beeps much more insistently, I believe about 3 times a second, and the beeping noise is louder as well, to alert you for safety's sake that an error has occurred. So now I have completed my photons, and in order to test the electrons, I need to walk into the bunker anyway and put the electron cone on. And so you simply do that. You flip the device over, and you do a simple realignment to the light field and push the button that says electrons. And now your display, as you can see here, is on the other side because I've inverted the device and I have I've realigned it. I'm ready for electrons to go. Now again, this takes maybe 10 or 15 seconds. We feel that the additional accuracy that you're going to get because of the appropriate buildup is definitely worth that error, that extra time. And since you need to walk into the bunker to put on the electron cone anyway, you're really not spending any extra time. So when the therapists have completed that work, then they simply return the beam to the cradle and rest it on the cradle, and it can be recharged at that time and ready to go for the next day. Now, you do periodically then download the data. We recommend perhaps once a week download of the information. So when this does then require the software, that you run the software with the device connected through that RS-232 or USB port. And when you run the software, you would get a screen similar to this that would tell you that new data is available for download. This button would flash at you and you'd click it to download the data that has been stored on the device since the last time that you did this. It will tell you the last download date, and when you've completed that download, it will give you a report, a screen that will show up and say, these are the values and the energies that I've downloaded to the database from this data range. And then this is just a simple view of how you can view that chart. You simply pick, do I want to see photons or electrons? And from a drop-down menu, choose the energies. And that data then is displayed across here. In this example, we're looking at a March to April, about a one month period of time. You can pick your beginning and ending dates. You can actually use this tool to zoom in and out if you want to see more closely the data. And the constancy, axial symmetry, transverse symmetry, and flatness are all displayed in different colors. By clicking on these buttons, you can turn them on or off. And you see the green levels here is within the action level 1. Those are good readings. The yellow would be an action between action level 1 and action level 2, and a reading that would be outside, it would be in the red area here as well. You can also look at this data on a table view where it just tabulates all of those values for you. And you can print the data, and we'll look at that one next. And you can also export the data for your further use. So here's an example of what that information would look like. Again, must have a slow internet connection today. I'll wait for that one to come through. There we go. So again, a simple report that you can sign off on and store as a PDF, or exporting the data in the tabular form or as a Excel.csv file that you can use. If you were running this data I talked about before in the wired mode or the connected to the PC mode, you would get a little bit more information. So here's an example of what it looks like for flatness, symmetry, or constancy measurements, the difference that you had seen. You get a specific number for that particular measurement that you've taken that day compared to the baseline, and a simple status, red, green, or yellow light status to tell you where those errors may or may not have occurred. So there are supplemental tests then, additional tests that you can do for your beams using this device for enhanced dynamic wedge, for all of the tomotherapy, the high art systems, the H series and the Radixact, or for Varian or Electa, Rapid Arc, or VMAT. All of these tests can be run in a wire-free mode or in a wired mode, and it's simply either defining these ionization chambers as a location and coming up with a treatment plan for them. In the case of the VMAT or the Rapid Arc, or in the high art method, you can do both a static test as well. And I'll show you that one in just a minute. There is with this device also an available gantry mount. Should you wish to do your measurements testing the positioning of the gantry at different angles to see if any changes have occurred. And in addition, here's what that tomotherapy specific mode looks like. For a static check, we include a base plate in the tomotherapy mode here with a level that's just a storage spot here for the level. You place that on top of the device and use a 3-point leveling method to be sure that this is leveled correctly at the virtual ISO center for tomotherapy. You would then drive it into the bore to true ISO center, and there are 2mm fiducials that are embedded in the device that you can then use the imaging system with tomotherapy to following. Just like a patient, you would do the alignment, and then it uses the 3 channels across the top to do an energy check, the output left versus right, and a lateral profile constancy as well. You can also do a dynamic check where you treat any of those 3 chambers as essentially a patient tumor and deliver a certain amount of percentage of dose to those specific units, those specific locations, and report on those. So you've tested your levels, your isocenter alignment, and all of the dosimetry all at the same time. So in summary, today, I appreciate your listening to the description of this device. Just wanted to go over some of the benefits. This is a simple, fast, reliable daily QA device for your LINAC. I was recently speaking with a physicist who's used this for a long time and asked him, what is the best outcome that you're looking for with doing your daily QA? And he said, I want a device that lets the therapist do all of it so that I don't have to worry about it. And again, it's kind of back to that balance. I would like a device that's simple, easy to use, but at the same time that I'm assured that it's reliable and that it provides the data that I need to be sure that my device is operating correctly for patients, because that's obviously what it's all about. This innovative wire-free mode that we've talked about that's patented with the energy scores really is the only device on the market that allows you to operate this in a software-free manner. So you don't need to run any software. You just simply set the device on. It gives the therapist a very simple go, no-go daily clue. The integrated buildup and the design of it provide these high quality, stable readings. Standard Imaging really is known for our small signal measurement capabilities. As you probably know, we make a line of electrometers, ionization chambers, scanning systems that are all known for their high precision and accuracy. We've done this for 30 years. The QA BeamChecker has over 1,500 units in the field since 2004. So, we feel we're doing something right. That automatic energy detection helps prevent those mistakes then, because you can shoot the beams in any order. And because of the robustness of this system, we do offer a 2-year warranty. We can update and fix the units where issues occur. It is, as you would understand, a fairly hostile environment where you're irradiating a device every day. So these things, any device gets a variety of radiation damage to it, and the BeamChecker can easily be updated if that should become necessary. We feel we've got a very intuitive trending and reporting of the data, and we've got this unique capability to also do some rotational and dynamic checks for tomotherapy, for rapid arc, electronic dynamic wedges, or VMAT. So with that, I would encourage you, if you need some more information on this, certainly visit us at standardimaging.com. There's a small blue button near the top of the website page that you can click on to find your account rep and give you a specific name and a face should you want to email them directly for more information, or you can simply contact sales@standardimaging.com. And with that, I thank you for your time and attention. This is the end of our webinar here, almost exactly 30 minutes. I will hang around here for a bit to see if there are any questions that anyone has entered into the question box, and would be very happy to answer them. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions at this time. So again, I appreciate your patience, your attention, and I wish you all a safe remainder of 2020. And again, thank you for all of your efforts on behalf of cancer patients worldwide. Thank you very much and have a great day.